All right, we got massive news today about 12.1 and the end of 12.0 and the first season. We got a massive update list of enhancement buffs, Brewmaster buffs. I will also go over those because I haven't forgot new Brewmaster mains out there. We got the new dungeon pool. We got, as you can see already, the 1% Umbral Champion mount reward for this season. We got the mounts for 2K and 3K for next season, which also look really cool. And we're gonna go over all of those and even more. So stay tuned and just let's go. Right before we begin with the new stuff, this is gonna be the 12.0 / season 1 top 1% mount reward. And honestly, this looks really sick. At first, I was afraid that it's gonna be a boring reskin / bad reskin, but this is probably the first time where I would say that the reskin actually looks better than the original. If you don't know, this is a reskin of the Belleran mount reward, which is like void and light themed. This just looks way more natural, I feel like. It's like a dark red and a bright red, right? And it looks really sick, especially if it has a special mount up animation. I definitely want this, so I'm gonna keep pushing my keys no matter how long it takes, honestly. Even if I have to sit 6 hours in a queue just to get one key done, I will do it. I already do it on twitch.tv/Vorion, so check me out if you want to. But I can guarantee you I will get this mount, and I hope you guys can achieve it too if you want to. Now, with 12.1, there's also obviously always changes and updates and nerfs, buffs, reworks, and we will go over all of those. So first off, they will change some baseline things about every single class, which is that the player health and creature damage will be increased by 25% at max level. Health consumable values have also been adjusted to the new match to match the new health values. So we will just overall be tankier and will deal a bit more consistent damage. Just overall flatline every single spec, not just enhancement or brew, just everyone, right? The DPS cooldowns will also be reduced, which is quite nice. No one really likes having a 10-second window of dealing massive damage every 2 minutes, for example, during Ascendance. They want to reduce the burst damage that every single spec has and make it more spread out, make it more consistent, so they don't deal massive damage at the beginning of the fight and then fall off instantly. Best example for that is, as I said, Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman has probably one of the biggest burst windows, just right after Elemental probably, and they will deal massive damage at the beginning, but then will fall off once their Ascendance or whatever else cooldown you have will like expire, right? Once they expire, you just fall off unless you get a lucky doom wins. They want to reduce that, make the cooldowns less meaningful, and just make you deal more consistent damage, which is honestly quite nice. Who doesn't like that, right? You don't want to be dependent on your biggest cooldown, which is always a 2-minute cooldown, right? Just overall a great change. They also updated interrupts. Now you might think we will finally be able to track interrupts from every single party member. No, not yet at least, but we will now know if we missed a interrupt, which is honestly really cool. Sometimes in hectic situations, you kind of don't know if you hit or missed unless the mob starts casting instantly again. So you will now see a missed visual over the target set if used while the target wasn't casting a spell, which will just probably say missed or a little icon that it will like say that you fucked up. And then you will also have a separate sound to represent a missed interrupt. So if you don't see the icon, you can just listen and you will probably figure out that you messed up and missed the kick, right? It's just a good thing overall, better visual clarity in the entire issue. That is visual vomit in WoW, right? Massive pulls in Mythic Plus, for example, are just not clear at all. You don't know what's going on at any time. And I can guarantee you, if I didn't have my rotation add-on that's showing what I press every single, that's showing what I press in my rotation, no one would know what I'm doing, right? So this is overall a good thing. Now I will not go over every single spec simply because I just don't know enough. For all of these things, you will probably find someone that is more knowledgeable, but I will go over Brewmaster, which is right here. And it is just a flat out buff, which is nice to see. We always want to see strong tanks, not weak tanks, right? So the stagger reduction from staggering strikes is increased by 25%. So you just have more stagger. The Spirit of the Ox chance to generate a healing sphere is increased by 20%. More self-healing. Celestial Brew and Celestial Infusion absorb increased by 25%, so more shielding. Awakening Spirit's maximum absorb value increased by 25%. Once again, more shielding. Vital Flame heal increased by about 10%. Also more self-healing. Brewmaster will just be overall more tanky, way tankier than before. This is probably even stronger than the Season 1 variant of Brewmaster, at least as of right now. There will probably be more patches and more buffs and nerfs coming in the following weeks, and I will keep you updated, so subscribe for that one. But overall, Brewmaster will, I think, be one of the stronger tanks once again. At least I hope so. I really like Brewmaster, and I don't want to struggle getting into keys because I'm not meta or because I'm just a weak tank, right? Everyone wants a good tank, and everyone wants to have a tank in the key eventually, right? And then we will talk about Shaman, specifically enhancement. But before we do that, Ascendance just has a new icon for all 3 specs. Great. I mean, it's whatever. I didn't associate the icon with anything else anyway, so just a little upgraded icon. Fine, I guess. And then a weird, honestly weird enhancement Shaman bug. But Healing Surge healing is increased by 25%, Earth Sheet healing is increased by 25%, Healing Stream Totem healing increased by 25%. This just correlates to the 25% health buff, so this is basically a nothing burger. Nothing's gonna change. We will be doing the exact same healing percentage-wise. We will just have bigger numbers, right? This is just, hey, this doesn't mean anything, probably. I hope we still get more defensives. I still think enhancement is way too squishy for high keys and just struggles to survive at some points, but maybe these 25% help incredibly well, right? This buff is better than Earth Elemental. I'm down for that, right? So these are all the buffs for now. Have the new Midnight Season 2 Mythic Dungeon rotation, and honestly, oh boy, not a big fan of this, honestly. So Murder Road, Den of Netherrack, The Blinding Veil, and Voidscar Arena are already known for us. We've done them in the preseason, before the season began, to get this stuff, right? And to level. These are honestly fine, besides maybe Den of Netherrack. Didn't really have a great time doing that dungeon. And Blinding Veil, I think I did once, because I never got queued into it. But other than that, we will have to see how it's scaled. We will have to see how the roads are, how the bosses scale, and yada yada yada. And then we have the new dungeon that's always getting added in a 0.1 patch, the Altar of Fangs. We don't know anything about the dungeon yet, so can't really say anything. And then we have Ruby Life Pools from Dragonflight. I don't know why they are bringing so many Dragonflight dungeons back, especially in a troll themed season. Don't quite know why there is a dragon themed dungeon in it. I mean, the last boss is a troll, I believe. No, the last boss was a Tauren. Right? I think it was a Tauren. Either a Tauren or a troll. So if the only reason why this is here is because the last boss is the troll, the decision is kind of troll. The dungeon itself is also really difficult, or was really difficult. Maybe they just nerf it to the ground and make it easier, but I vividly remember that the mini bosses, the dragons that fly around on the top part, were really, really annoying to fight and really dangerous. You just died randomly. So we just hope they scale it well. From Blizzard's track record, looking at their track record, I'm not quite sure if they will be able to do that. Argath Academy, for example, was piss easy in Dragonflight, and they made it extremely hard. But then we have Temple of Sethrillis, which I've read is so buggy that it was excluded from the MDI back then. I haven't done the dungeon myself because I didn't play a lot of Battle for Azeroth, but let's just hope they fix it. And I also heard it's very difficult, or was really difficult. And then we have King's Rest, which is just famously known to be very annoying, very bad, and very hard, right? No one likes these dungeons. Ruby Life Pools is probably the best out of these 3, but I mean, I'm not looking forward to the season. Many people say that the season is cooked already, or the Mythic Plus season is cooked already. This doesn't look good. But maybe there's going to be a miracle and they will be able to fine-tune everything. We'll have to see. We'll have to see and wait for the PTR to come up and see how the scalings done and stuff. So I'll keep you updated for that. But that's all for the dungeons. We also have the new tier sets, which honestly, at least for Brewmaster and Enhancement Shaman, look really cool. So Monk has a 2-set bonus. Breath of Fire ignites the next Keg Smash, causing it to explode on contact, dealing additional flame strike damage to its target and reduce damage to additional targets. Just a damage buff, and it will probably look kind of cool with like your keg exploding a little bit more. And then the 4-set bonus is Ignited Keg Smashes cause enemies struck to take 8% increased damage from your physical abilities and leave a patch of flames on the ground, dealing fire damage each second for 5 seconds. This sounds really cool, like with the patch of flames on the ground. Depends on how much you have to move as a tank this season. So if you have to move a lot, this might just be dog shit. But if you can stand still and tank a lot of mobs inside this patch of fire on the ground, this will honestly deal tons of damage. I hope so, at least. And deal 8% increased damage. So just overall really cool set, way cooler than the first seasons. And same can be said for Enhancement Shaman, right? Voltaic Blaze causes your primary target to erupt in a Fire Nova every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. Fire Nova damage is increased by 200% if it only strikes one target. This just makes Flame Shock more important, honestly. So usually this season, it wasn't really that much of a bummer if you let Flame Shock fall off, because it just simply didn't deal any reasonable amount of damage, right? It wasn't your main thing, at least if you were Stormbringer. So this time it will be way more important to keep Flame Shock up / Voltaic Blaze up at all times, so you just maximize the damage that you deal here. And the 4-set bonus is Fire Nova reduces the cooldown of Crash Lightning by 2 seconds and increases the damage of your next Crash Lightning by 8%, stacking up to 5 times, so about 40%, I believe, right? Overall, great. Just depends on how much Crash Lightning you have to spam. You already get a lot of resets on Crash Lightning, right? So if you also have a cooldown reduction on top of that, you might just be pressing Crash Lightning the entire fight, honestly. It might just become a 1-button rotation, who knows? But great thing again. It just plays with your Apex talent a little bit more. Maybe the full 4-point Apex build will be stronger with this one. We don't know yet. We will have to do some testing on that. But overall, sounds like a really fun and really impactful tier piece, unlike Season 1's, right? Season 1 just increased your damage, and I think it increased your mastery too. So rather a passive set bonus, but this one sounds interesting. Same goes for Brewmaster, obviously. We also know how they look, the tier sets, and Shaman, it's alright. Honestly, it's alright. I like the shoulders with the spirit serpent thingies on your shoulders, right? But I'm usually not quite a fan of dresses on tier sets for Enhancement Shaman, right? I mean, this is a great fit for elementals probably, but I'm just not a fan of dresses as a Enhancement Shaman in general. So if I can get my shoulder and helmet done in a cool way without using a dress, great. If not, I will probably not use this. Not that big of a fan, but the shoulders are cool though. Great shoulders. And Monk, honestly, Monk might be my favorite this season, simply because I'm a big fan of like the Chinese lore, right? And this is obviously a reference to Wukong. And I'm a big fan of Wukong, like not the League of Legends champion, but like the story in general. I really like Wukong. And this is like a 1-to-1 ripoff of Wukong's visual design, right? And it just looks really cool. Same color palette, honestly, that they always use for monks. This jade green, white, red combination. We've had this for a while now. Wish they would have gone from like, this is cool. This is honestly cool. This is more of a Wukong, right? With the color palettes. We also had this a lot since season 1 of The War Within, right? So it feels kind of cheap, but overall, I really like the design, and the red one always, as always, looks the coolest. We'll have to get this one, and honestly, we'll have to get every single one of this. These also look cool. Just boring color palette at some point, right? We've been seeing this for a lot of time now, but overall, honestly, great changes, great tier sets. Besides, as I said, Enhancement Shaman, not quite a fan of the dress. Maybe there's a non-dress version, because they sometimes do that, right? There's like a chest piece which is a dress and which isn't a dress. And before we end it, this is the mount reward for 2k rating, and this is the mount for 3k rating. And honestly, they cooked. They look really cool. This doesn't look as cool to me as this. I am just a really big fan of red themed mounts, especially this red palette, right? This dark red combined with the bright glowing red. Honestly, looks cool to me every single time. This is obviously a flying mount since you have a saddle right here and it has wings. And it's a first of its kind. The model is shared with the thingies. Forgot the names, but it's a familiar model, but we have not seen this type of mount yet with like the skeleton thingy. We had it in Sunken Temple in Classic, I believe, as a boss, but we didn't have this as a mount yet. And honestly, looks really cool. Additionally, is the reward for the Nemesis solo boss. It's alright. It's just another mech, which I'm just usually not a big fan of. Maybe it can fly again, like the first one of this season or this expansion, right? We don't know yet. So up until then, that's it. There's not much news other than that, and I will keep you updated. Follow and subscribe for more. Check out my Twitch. I'm live right now. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.